Hello, it's Ed. Welcome to the studio. And this week, as you can see, I've got the RB67 out again. And the reason is I got a couple of comments on the video I did about shooting panoramics 35mm in the RB67. I was interested in what people were saying, so I thought I would address some of that, and it's given me the idea for another little experiment. Now, one of the comments was saying, why didn't I try shooting two 35mm films at a time, one above the other? And I gave that some thought. I thought it'd be interesting, but actually I don't really want to have perforations halfway through. I'm not even sure I could fit two, one on top of the other. So I sort of discounted that. The other was saying, these 35mm panoramics, why don't you just shoot them on 120 film and crop them? And I was thinking, yeah, that's an idea, but it's cheaper to use 35mm film because you're only using that little bit and you're going to be wasting the top and bottom if you crop down. And also it's that thing about knowing exactly which bit you're going to use, so there's the practice of it as well. And then I thought, but hang on, what about if I get a 120 film and I shoot the top half of it as one panoramic and the bottom half as another panoramic? And I had a little think about how I might do that. And initially I wanted to use the 645 back, but I realised that it winds differently. So it winds vertically rather than horizontally. So if I was going to try and do one above the other, if I didn't get it lined up perfectly, they would overlap. Whereas if I use the normal 6/7 back, that winds this way. So even if the two panoramics are slightly out of sync, they will still have separation between them. So the issue then is, how do you stop the light getting in the top and the bottom? And how do you see which bit you're going to shoot with? So if I just open this up, you will see that I have put a piece of gaffer tape along the bottom here. It's actually got foam backing as well because it needs to prevent the light getting to this bottom section while the top's being exposed. And I've also created a new mask for the viewfinder so I can see the portion that I'm going to be exposing. And what I can do is I can either shoot the whole film, rewind it in the dark, flip this up the other way around, put that gaffer tape on the other side and use the film again, or between each shot I can flip that to here and that round. Now it's more troublesome flipping it between every shot, but it does get rid of the issue of having to find a completely dark place to rewind the film and get it back in again, and if I make a mistake and I put it in the wrong way around, everything's ruined. So I'm going to give this a go. So you can see what will happen is I will expose the top, then put the dark slide back in, take that out, put it on the top and shoot it again. And what I've done is I've made this piece actually slightly bigger than half the size, so there will be a little frame. So we're not using quite all the film, but hopefully if there is any light leakage, it will not ruin most of the bit that I'm actually seeing through the viewfinder. So I'm going to load that up, go out, try and get a few shots just to test. I'm not going to do anything fancy, but just to see if it's in principle a good idea. And we'll come back and have a look at the results, and hopefully there'll be a slideshow. There might just be a complete mess. But anyway, it's an experiment and I love experimenting, as you know. Right, so let's put this back together, load up some film, go out and give it a try. We are on frame one. Start and shoot. So here I am again, Stockport Marketplace. You might recognise this if you watched the video I did with the new rig. This is where I started and finished. I have my medium format camera loaded with the 100 ASA film, And all I need to do now is just take a light reading before I do my first shot. So let's see, 250th of a second. It's saying f13, so we'll give that a go. Right, now I like this spot because I don't know if you can see it on that wall, it's probably hidden by the lamppost, but there's a really nice shadow of a lamppost against that. So let's take a light meter reading. F11 it's saying, so we'll knock it down to F11 and let's get this shot before the sun goes in and we lose it. So I've wound it on, but I'm not going to flip it over from bottom to top because I'm going to do the reverse. So I'm going to do the bottom frame, then flip it to the top. That way it minimises the effort for me, and that's always a good thing. Right, let's find another place. Okay, so that's my third shot taken. And now I need to not wind on, but flip over. So I imagine I'll get quicker at this as I go along. Flip that one to there. Put that back on, then take the back off, flip this over, and then back's back on, ready for shot 4. So I've done a few of these panoramics now, and the thing that I'm noticing most of all is I've got to be really careful to remember what I've done. So have I wound on? Have I flipped it? Where am I at? Now I need to wind on. But I don't want to flip it because I've wound it on, so I don't need to flip it. So I'll flip it after the next shot. Right, let's find something else to take a picture of. It was all going so well. I was being oh so careful. So this is the bit you're going to want to watch, where I mess it all up right at the end. 6.7250. We're on to the last shot. There we go, pop the dark slide in. Just need to get the film out and hope for the best. Probably should have wound it on first. I think we might just have lost that. Exposed, let's hope for the best. Just got these back from the lab and I'm so excited I can't even wait to get back to the studio to look to see if there's anything on them. Fingers crossed, did I ruin it? Please, please, please. Oh yes, we do have pictures, so we've got to get them scanned. So the good news was, despite my ridiculous taking out of the film before it had been properly wound on, I only lost about 2 frames. However, another schoolboy error. What I realised when I looked at the negatives was all the pictures that I was shooting the wrong half of the frame. I was looking at the top and photographing the bottom, or looking at the bottom and photographing the top. Seems so obvious now, but at the time my brain just didn't click. I basically have a collection of images which are pretty much useless, but it is proof of concept. This does work. There was no leakage from the top frame to the bottom frame. Everything worked as it should have done, except the operator, me. The issue then becomes whether it's actually worth doing. It was a really interesting experiment. Please keep commenting so that I have more things to think about. That's the beauty of the community, isn't it? Anyway, I think that's where we should wrap it up for this week. Back again same time next week, hopefully. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. See you then.